Okay. We've got a good one for you today. How's everybody doing on a Tuesday morning? Bring this down a little bit. And so, yeah, what you just saw was a video for Hilton. All right. I like the music. All right, so we're gonna turn the music down and watch it again. So, what this is focusing on is over. All right, the people don't. The destination isn't the hotel. All right, when you see this, when people are doing selfies. Nobody takes a selfie in the hotel lobby. They're always taking selfies in the, in their driverless car or in the plane or in the train, the TGV bar car. Big fan. So we're gonna now talk about what keeps hotel execs up at night. Because here's the reality. Excuse me. All right, so this represents the $500 billion black hole that Europe and America just spent with every weapon system that was sent to Ukraine has been obliterated. Every Patriot missile system, HMARS, JDAMs, JSOWs, everything was destroyed by the Russian forces, including the 450,000 trained Ukrainian troops. And so it looks like Russia's going to win the war, get everything that it was looking for. And so we have to decide, what are we going to do? Are we going to weep about it, right? Anytime you're talking about Putin or the Ukrainian war, there's always this type of thing, right? There's a lot of emotion. That was pretty funny. There's a lot of emotion involved. But whatever. If you're a business partner, if you're a hotel exec, you have to understand that Europe right now is under turmoil. And when things, historically, hesitation is fine, is safe when things are normal and calm. But when things are in chaos and transition, and there's a vacuum of leadership, a vacuum of identity, a vacuum of, like, of a narrative of what is Europe now, what is NATO, all right? In those times, hesitation is fatal. And so we're going to do a little quick presentation when the travel becomes cinema, the new era of hospitality. All right, so what we just saw with that Hilton video, travel wasn't cinema. All right, travel was going to a hotel, seeing the bar, seeing people working, and then walking outside for a little bit. That is a message which is confused. They don't really know which way they're going. So, but we know which way they're going. This is a strategic point of view on the convergence of travel, storytelling, and the human experience. I am the king of Facebook Live. I'm sorry, LinkedIn Live. We can, shout out to me there. And I'm also the king of TGV travel. I've spent like close to a decade traveling around in France. I know the whole sort of emotion and the coolness and the perspective of everything that could ever happen has happened in this decade-long thing, right? And not one time was my bag lost, all right? And not one time did anybody ask me if I packed my own bags. Not one time did anybody ask me if I was carrying any liquids. Not one time did I have to take my shoes off or my belt off. There was no security theater, all right? And at no time did that train ever fall out of the sky. So let me shut up about my love for European train travel. So what keeps hotels execs awake at night? Right? Well, brand differentiation collapsing. Like, come on, what's the difference between like the Marriott, the Hyatt, the Hilton, really? Except for the name. So, hotel chains are struggling to have a differentiator. Loyalty fatigue. It's like, no, okay, I don't want another card, man. And the narrative volatility, right? So one bad thing happens with an employee, and all of a sudden the person's got their phone out, and it's TikTok. It's going viral. It's a nightmare. You got Airbnb barking at your heels, and the mobility is replacing the hotel. What am I saying? I'm saying that nobody takes the selfie at the hotel check-in, right? The airport check-in, the hotel check-in, all that feels like is human prospering. The selfie is taken at the bar car in the TGV. It's taken in the first class cabin in the airport. It's taken in your driverless car. That's where the drama is. All right? And so what keeps hotel execs awake at night? Viral moments happen. We tend to say, right? So you get it. The cappuccino in the bar car is where it's at. Mobility is the true stage of travel. If journey becomes the product, hotels become replaceable. If anticipation peaks mid-journey, the hotel is done. All right? And so this is the reality that we are in today. And as the European sort of thing is in this state of reconstruction, a vacuum of identity, a vacuum of narrative, now is the time. The bold, the fortune favors the bold. All right. So if there's a move going to be made, now is the time. If the most memorable part of the journey is the TGV bar car in the airport lounge or the first class cabin, then mobility brands have quietly taken the role that hotels used to play. So across brands, true differentiation is emotional, not architectural, right? The emotion isn't in the room or the bar or the dinner, the place to eat, you're eating dinner, or the pool, right? Guests don't remember the square footage. They remember how they felt when they arrive. Hospitality's competitive frontier is the emotional arc, not the physical product. Hospitality's competitive frontier is the emotional arc, not the physical product. It's the how the person feels, not just in the hotel, but within the whole experience of the journey. So, travel begins long before arrival. The emotional tone of a stay is set before a guest ever reaches a hotel. Like we said before, airports are exhaustion. Airports are just, it's like, ask me another dumb question and think I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh, really? Do I gotta take my belt off and my shoes off and go through this security theater again? Yes, I packed my bags myself. Right? Okay, in corridors, you don't have that. There's more of an anticipation. It's a lot easier. You don't feel like you're processed like a piece of meat, right? And so with the guest's arc, if the guest has an arc to their story, to their travel story, to their journey, there's emotional clarity, which translates to any hotel chain. Brands that design for the pre-arrival state will win loyalty. Oops, sorry. Brands who are making the whole journey as comfortable, as predictable, as chilled as possible are the ones who are going to be like, man, I had just such a great experience. No tension. My bags weren't lost. Everything was cool from the moment I left home to the moment I got back, man. That's where you're going to get your loyalty points, right? So the crazy thing is Paris invented the mobility corridor. Long before the TGV, Paris created the original mobility experience. Gare de Lyon and Le Train Bleu. This here is the interior of a restaurant called Le Train Bleu, where the first cinematic gateways where travelers stepped into the story of the Riviera. Paris proved that travel isn't logistics, it's emotion, anticipation, and transformation. Modern mobility is simply reviving what Paris mastered a century ago. So just look at this place, right? So if you were a movie star and you were going to the south of France, you didn't take a plane, you went to Le Train Bleu, you looked at the gorgeous paintings, and these paintings were depicting Marseille, Nice, a Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera. So you were looking at an age before TV and so on and so forth. You were looking and anticipating your journey, right? This is not new. So, boom, we're gonna go boom, baby. Oops. There we go. Yes, and I think we're gonna clap and give a little bit of applause as well. The Grand Paris Express. It's right here. All of this is new. Did you hear me? All of this is new. Everything in color here is either built or being built, but the most important thing is Charles de Gaulle Airport, Charles de Gaulle, Bourget, Orly. All of these airports are going to be connected to a high-speed rail that will get you from as soon as you get out of your plane, you just roll into the high speed rail, and it'll take you from like 19 minutes instead of an hour and a half stuck in Parisian traffic and the periphery. You're from Charles de Gaulle to La Defense in like 18, 19 minutes. And then from Bourget or Orly, it's like 11 or 12 minutes. This completely uh, changes travel as far as is concerned. And because it's hooked up from the airports to La Defense, Paris is positioning itself to be the capital of Europe, the business capital of Europe, the Wall Street of Europe. So the trend is your friend. These lines aren't open. They were supposed to be open last year. There been delays, and so they will be open next year. Once these lines are live, the whole I'm gonna sneeze. The whole thing, excuse me, is gonna change. So it's going to end up being more like 50 billion, but it's a 35 to 40 billion transformation, right? Europe's largest infrastructure project, 200 kilometers of track, 68 new stations, a new orbit around Paris, a high-speed routes linked Charles de Gaulle, Orly, Le Bourget, without passing through the city. Forecasted to move 2 to 3 million riders per day, more than double the territory reachable by rapid transit before. So high-speed corridors create calm arrival states, man. You get out of your bar car. Yeah, maybe they serve wine or beer, or they have actually really, really good food. The croque monsieur is outstanding. Right? So the emotional arrival moment becomes more important than the check into the hotel. Right? Every major hotel brand will need a mobility strategy, not a loyalty strategy. Because the difference with train travel is you go centre-ville to centre-ville. All right, center city to center city. So the experience isn't like airport, I'm being processed, security, theater, put my shoes back on, wait for the plane, get in this little tuna can, get out of the plane, maybe some more security, theater, hail a cab, get stuck in traffic, then get to your hotel, right? That's not a enjoyable experience. This is a enjoyable experience. Hotel, TGV, Centreville, culture, have a bite to eat. Your bags are right with you. You didn't lose your bags. They weren't taken by somebody else and then, spilled out onto the tarmac somewhere, right? Centreville. Immediately you're immersed in the culture of that city, of that scene, right? Then from there, from that landing, from that as you arrive, right? So it's hotel, TGV, Centreville, culture, hotel, rinse and repeat. That's the arc that whoever starts creating this narrative, what the hotel chain who steps up to the table, right, and captures this narrative, what you're doing with a hotel at the beginning of the journey and the hotel at the end of the journey, the same brand, the same hotel, right? You can create, third party, the promotions in the bar car, the TGV, promotions with the TGV, the rail line, partnerships with restaurants, partnerships with what do you call them? Tourist centers. All right. So you're integrating the hotel into the journey. And so you can have special discounts, so forth, promotions, and your logo is on the menu in the train. And so what this does is, right, guests want intuitive, restorative, frictionless experiences. Stress reduction is the new currency of premium travel. Luxury is not opulence. Luxury is emotional regulation. Luxury is not opulence. Luxury is emotional regulation. And the hotel chain that understands this and that can serve the customer with this story, right? The arc of the journey becomes the movie. The client, the customer, the guest becomes the movie star, and the hotel becomes the executive producer. Come on in, fly in from the world. Come to Paris. From Paris, where are you gonna go from Paris? Well, let's see. We can show you right here, right? So this has all been set up already. So you don't have to, there's no capital expenditures, right? You don't have to create this. It's already created. Paris to Nice, to Marseille, to Brussels, to Antwerp, to Liège, to Germany, to Cologne, Paris to Dusseldorf, Paris to Frankfurt, trains to Amsterdam, to Brussels. All right, it's all here. Here's the content, just being waited to be exploited. What's it going to be like from Paris to Amsterdam? The whole journey, the whole trip, the whole mini movie that you can create, going from hotel to hotel, hotel TGV, Centreville, culture, hotel. This is the arc. This is the movie. This is the executive production that the hospitality brand that jumps on this will own this space. All right, and this is what I want to show you. Oh, this gets a boom. Oh man, do you see those prices? Do you see these prices? 45 euros to Bordeaux from Paris. 49 Marseille. It's just ridiculous. You're traveling 300 miles an hour, and it's like pennies on the dollar compared to any other form of transportation. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. And I lived this life, and I'm going to be, continuing to see my daughter, right? So I was from 2015 to like 2003 or end of 2003. I was going every month, and now I had some time back in the States. Now I'm getting back to Paris, so I'm going to be continuing this journey, and I'm available to implement this plan. So this is sort of a little bit of a pitch deck here, doing it up, right? Mobility corridors are cinema, Paris to Cannes, glamour, pilgrimage, Tokyo to Kyoto, heritage, minimalism, New York City to DC, ambition, power, Seoul to Busan, movement, modern energy, London to Paris, romance, espionage, James Bond. Hospitality brands sit at the endpoints of these stories. They inherit the momentum of the journey. Okay, did you hear what I'm saying? Hospitality brands inherit the momentum of the journey, good or bad, right? But if you set it up and you take ownership as being endpoints of the experience, you inherit the emotional secret sauce, that awesome sauce. You inherit that momentum, and you inherit it on a $50 billion infrastructure that Paris has already set up to make this happen. You are getting the return on the investment that that France has made in their metropolitan high-speed rail. Field marketing, all right, becomes the front line. All right, mobility turns into revenue. Mobility shifts turned into reality. Cultural corridors, these are brand moments. You're providing this cultural experience, right? If you're a hotel brand, making this the end-to-end journey possible. The guest emotion, that's your loyalty strategy. The emotion is the loyalty strategy. When you feel like, oh, you come from one Hilton hotel, you take your journey, you end up at another Hilton hotel, you spend a few days, you have a great time, you're really super relaxed, everything is cool, you get back on the train, you go back to the hotel you came from in Paris, then you leave, or maybe you go somewhere else, like a grand tour, 2005, 2006 style. Every major chain needs a hyper-localized narrative strategy, not just content. And so as far as my point of view, I've traveled thousands of global miles on rail. I have a rare understanding of this ecosystem. Storytelling plus digital broadcast skill, that is part of my cellular, DNA structure. I use AI enhanced research, like to make these presentations, right? And it helps with hyper speed ideation. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, let me put in a few tweaks to this presentation, made the tweaks, boom, pull the trigger, and now I'm live. Ability to translate emotion into strategy, strategy into content, and content into revenue, because that's what I do. That's what I bring to the table. And to anybody watching this, just to, to be clear, the vision is mine, but the glory is yours. Who's ever hospitality brand that I am helping, right? The person who championed this becomes the face of innovation, not me. I've got plenty of things to be to hang my hat on. I'm here to build the engine, hand you the keys, and step aside once the narrative installed. I'm not here to stay forever. I'm here to build something unforgettable and hand it to you. And Chat GPT is kind of to blame for this sort of passionate pitch that I'm doing, because it's helping me. I'm just sort of, I don't know, maybe making my autobiography or what, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm in a project. I've created this own special project where I'm just telling my stories. And so I spar with it. I'm thinking, what about like this? And so this opportunity came up, and I was just like, what do you think? And the GTP was like, oh my God, you're perfect for this opportunity. So when travel becomes cinema, the new era of hospitality, you become the star. Le Temps Bleu, baby. All right, that was fun. I gotta run. So, yeah. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, hesitation is safe when things are calm. But during chaos, hesitation is fatal. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you later. Au revoir.